Pokemon Unite tier list, preseason 3 patch, because that's pretty much what this is. We're getting ready for the new ranked season. There's an upcoming championship series, and the game feels pretty good right now. I wouldn't say it's in the best state that it's been, but things are starting to make sense, and we got a lot of changes. A lot of buffs, a lot of nerfs. The craziest thing happening with the items, and that is causing a lot of shuffle with the Pokemon. So the first tier I want to talk about is the unplayable tier. Do not touch these Pokemon unless you want to troll and lose games. I'm going to do you a favor and just delete them from memory. There we go. Now let's talk about what you should be playing in Pokemon Unite. And I want to make a couple of statements and adjustments. So in my last tier list, I put Decidueye at A tier. I did overshoot it because I'm just thinking how is an 80 carry, hyper carry, baked in Runon's Pokemon going to be bad? Well, it's actually just bad, and honestly, it should have been in D tier last time. Just don't play it, don't pick it. But now, Decidueye is kind of barely playable because the Unite move changes actually pretty strong. This Pokemon will shred, and it's just a little bit better overall, but still outclassed by Greninja and Cinderace. Cinderace still an S tier Pokemon, especially with X Attack. Something weird happened. The devs observed that the game has way too many, just bruisers and melee Pokemon dominating and taking over. So, I guess they went, yo, let's X-Attack it up and see what happens. Just make those Pokemon stronger, but now, Cinderace with more attack speed and Greninja with more attack speed temporarily, they just start hard winning games to an absurd degree. So now, wait, why did they put these back? It used to be like on Tier Maker, if you made the list and deleted it, just got rid of them, but whatever. There's that going on, but the biggest Pokemon I want to talk about gaining from the X attack, as well as just overall quality of life changes, is Garchomp. Garchomp is the best Pokemon in Unite once again. It was starting to climb up there as people were solving the Pokemon when it evolved at level 10, and then realized, oh, Zapdos is the game. Oh, you take over the entirety of the late game with Garchomp, play it, and then you just win. Well, Garchomp's back because they did something with the abilities on level 9. Dragon Claw, Dragon Rush just felt broken, just not good broken, but unplayable broken. Just didn't function as well. So that got touched up. Also got tons of quality of life. Apparently, Dragon Rush just needed to be unstoppable, and that makes Garchomp completely cracked. And then a lot of slow interactions and stuff. And then giving Garchomp X attack kind of patches in all the stats it lost. It lost attack speed and damage, and then that hurts its lifesteal, so it has less sustain and it just doesn't duel anymore. So you go X attack with Garchomp, you don't get stuffed out because your Dragon Rush is reliable, as well as Dragon Claw, Dragon Rush, and then you just win games. Garchomp is absurd. I'm gonna be having videos coming out on that. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that fun stuff. Let's kind of round out the S tier, because I still think even with the introduction of Trevenant, Mamoswine is the best tank in Pokemon, or the best defender in Pokemon. You can just catch someone from a screen away with Icicle Crash, high horsepower, don't play any other moves that are ultra trash, you're just going to be throwing games. And then if you can hit an entire team, not even an entire team, you hit 2 people with that, team fight's over. Does an insane amount of damage, bursts half their health, and then the follow-up is insane. Also, if you go for a Unite move, you pretty much get to choose the carry, and so you don't get to play Pokemon Unite. I'm throwing an Icicle Crash your way, you're going to have to either get out of the way or get killed by it. I'm going to Unite move chase you down. You either have to flash 10 miles away from your team, give up all the Zapdos priority, and then you're still probably going to die to Mamoswine if it decides to choose you. So Mamoswine is ridiculous, and I'm going to say where are we for S tiers right now? Because the game got kind of weird. Gengar is everywhere again. But I want to say Gengar just vibing A+ tier until further notice. Because it did get a Hex nerf. There is less damage on the Hex to compensate, but Gengar is actually more viable now because of it getting access to level 5. So it ganks, it hexes, it sticks to you, and then it's nasty. I think a lot of people want to put Pikachu at S tier, but I think it's A+ tier because Pikachu can still be non-existent. Pikachu only exists when it has its Unite move, and it has its Unite move a lot now. It's effectively a third ability, but it can still just kind of fall flat. Pikachu unites into a team fight at Zapdos, and then it just doesn't exist. It either dies instantly, even Buddy Berry and all those other things going on. It gets one ability rotation, which isn't an insane amount of damage compared to the DPS of a lot of other Pokemon. But at the same time, yeah, it's stronger in lane. Its mid-game is alright, but at the same time, it can just play like a bot. It sees you, it just Unite moves on site, and then it sets up a kill. So it does those things, yet somehow it's not enough to kind of compete with other S tier Pokemon that we've seen in the current meta and in the past. So I don't know what to make of it. Tsareena being S tier, I don't know if it's just because it went from like one of the most absurd Pokemon we've ever seen, like second behind launch Gengar, to still pretty good. Like, if that gap just makes it feel like not an S tier Pokemon anymore, or if it isn't an S tier, or if it's secretly an S tier, I don't know. I don't know the state of Tsareena at this time, but what I do know is that it can be beaten. And it's not like it doesn't 1v9, but what should qualify an S tier Pokemon is just really, really strong, not can it 1v9. It can still, I don't even think it can 1v3 anymore. But it still beats out most of the cast if it gets close, and if it kind of like sets up for the team. I don't know, but also a lot of other Pokemon got buffed. So maybe like pick priority wise, it's not as S tier-y because there's a lot of other wild things going on in the game. And yeah, that's kind of it. And then a lot of like slow smoke and X attack shenanigans just kind of making the Pokemon play different. I've seen X attack Tsareena shred like old Tsareena, but better, because like those buffs are too insane. Also got the attack speed, so I'm gonna put it like the very top of A+ tier for now. Tentative. We'll see where it ends up breaking down. Dragonite. A lot of people, like, I think underrated it on launch because it was kind of a tricky Pokemon. Then it kind of got solved on Hyper Beam stealing, even though I still consider Outrage the better moveset. And I still think it's like A+ tier, even after the nerfs, kind of lower priority. It can still do some nasty things. Keep an eye out for Slow Smoke Outrage Dragonite. You just don't survive that. Like, it's just going to catch you, and it's going to brawl, and then fight's over. Also, the securing on Hyper Beam didn't get touched, but a lot of other things did. Like, Dragonite just is like punishable. Like, Dragonite doesn't have Team Fight. It has Tricks. And honestly, I don't think Tricks work that well in Pokemon Unite against skilled play. So, like, I want to see, like, Dragonite got nerfed to A tier, and I think people are just still overpicking it when there's better Pokemon to be found and played and mastered. Talonflame, no longer S tier. Like, it has crazy fighting stuff when it, like, if it lands in and then gets that and then, like, flies away. Or if, like, you just uses fly multiple times in fights. But the thing is, now it doesn't get to get away for free, and the damage nerf actually doesn't make it as absurd as it was as well. So, the Pokemon feels about as toxic, but has more counterplay. And the thing that makes Talonflame, like, either unacceptable or unplayable is the counterplay. As we've seen, like, from launch Talonflame, where it's like, if you're picking Talonflame, you're 100% trolling. And the Unite move still has problems because it's not, like, the best Unite move, so it can still flub at objectives and stuff. Yeah, that seems about right. Mr. Mime, I still want to put in S tier. I don't know where Mr. Mime mains have gone. I feel like Mr. Mime's in a weird spot because, like, you want to go Fluffy Tail to be, like, unstoppable on secures, but, like, X attack still provides a lot of damage buff, and then you can just use that to punch knock up people faster. I don't know if the X attack has viability. Also, same thing on the Slow Smoke. Like, you run in on Slow Smoke Mr. Mime, you're just going to eat 2 confusions, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, I think there's going to be some play on this. It's mostly just, like, you have to have an uncommon amount of childhood trauma to want to play Mr. Mime. So, what it takes to become a Mr. Mime main is rare, but I still respect you guys as, like, when you see a good Mr. Mime, or I've always had where Mr. Mime mains, they are some of the biggest deciding factors in the game, since launch, since pre-launch or any of that. When you see Mr. Mime knows what they're doing, like, the game's kind of hard to play, so it's weird. It's like, if you don't believe in Mr. Mime, I don't think there's any hope for you in Pokemon Unite, but if you do believe in Mr. Mime, then I think we're all on the same page here. But I think that's going to do it for the S tier. Tsareena might have gotten knocked out. Talonflame definitely got knocked out. I didn't consider Dragonite or Pikachu S tier to begin with. And for some reason, everyone's just having too much fun trying out everything. So it's going to take some extra time. Like, this was a very significant patch. It's going to take some extra time to see what happens. Like, I think Machamp A+, because, like, you run X attack, you have a lot of unstoppability baked in, and then for a couple seconds, you just get to destroy anything. However, Garchomp's just better. Garchomp has sustain. Even though Machamp got lifesteal, it needs physical vamp. If Machamp doesn't get physical vamp, it's worse than Zeraora, it's worse than Tsareena, it's worse than Garchomp. But its team fight taking over power is now, like, rivaling Tsareena's and is better than Zeraora's, especially after all the nerfs. Zeraora, turns out that having 200 attack because your passive is bugged makes Pokemon a little strong. And all the other, like, changes and nerfs, Zeraora's kind of, like, landed in balanced. Maybe it's A tier. Like, again, like, we're still seeing a lot of shuffle right now. I think it's going to take more than a day after the patch to, like, kind of figure it out. Like, is the Pokemon going to get solved and flowed up? Is it that we're not seeing the Pokemon because people got an early read? Are other Pokemon overrated, underrated right now? I don't know. And once again, it's like, is it that gap that we've seen Zeraora literally being the best Pokemon in the game, and now there's so much more priority over it? Does that kick it down a tier just on pick, or is it still A+ tier? You should be playing it. People haven't caught on to be playing it yet. Maybe isn't better than Machamp. Land Zeraora. People sleeping on it. A lot of like good priority jungle picks. Garchomp wants to be in the jungle, wants to go bot and steal all the camps. But until then, we're going to see where it goes. Venusaur. Still think Venusaur isn't worth playing, especially now with all the other changes. Like, Venusaur didn't really get anything, where a lot of other Pokemon are now, like, way stronger or way more fun. Lucario. I'm going to say A+ tier. Like, it feels... I think 99% of Lucario players got nerfed into A tier, but, like, if you're still a peak extreme speed math... And that's another thing. Like, you see Score Shield trolls, you see Goal Getter, you see Power Punch in your games, and, of course, Lucario is going to be trash. But if you have an extreme speed Bone Rush Lucario player that can get more than 4 resets, you have a game-winning player right there. And then they know how to get those secures. The Meteor Mash nerf was needed. A lot of other like attack and steadfast nerfs over time has pretty much knocked Lucario out of second best behind Zeraora, as Zeraora has been nerfed as well. But those players still know how to play, and extreme speed healing nerf doesn't affect them if they're just like going to hit you with 4 extreme speeds and KO you instantly while being pretty hard to hit because they're dashing around like a maniac. So I think like Lucario's ceiling didn't get hit enough to like knock it into A tier. So A+ tier on Lucario, and X attack does make Lucario pretty cracked. And that's the thing, like a lot of Pokemon are just like running X attack and running at you with their mouth open. So we're seeing less crowd control. So Pokemon that are hurt by crowd control in the immediate state of the meta, actually not feeling too bad right now. Then we have Snorlax. Also Trevenant. Everyone wants to know about Trevenant. Man, Trevenant's all the way down here. I'm just kind of like going down the list. I think Trevenant might be A tier, but my initial take is Trevenant is balanced. And in Pokemon Unite, balanced is just good. It's okay. I wouldn't say bad, because like there's bad Pokemon, but Trevenant being balanced, yeah. And it's also tricky. Like, I think like the high skill expression on Trevenant is going to be A+, but it's not as free. Like, you don't need to have an A+ brain to hit Zeraora, Lucario. Needs a bit more skill on the Machamp, but a lot of the other Pokemon A+, that's why they're A+ instead of A. They're free. You just run them and you're going to find success unless you're just irredeemable as a player. But if you actually understand, if you have any game sense, then you're going to be good on these Pokemon. Trevenant's just hard to use because like Curse, you kind of like have to have them in your range, and you have to be alive long enough while cursing, while being a tank to then get your resets, and you have to play around the resets really well. Horn Leech, Curse, Horn Leech. If you do that correctly, yeah, the opponent doesn't get to play the game. Like they can put down the controller, make a sandwich, go to the bathroom, grab a drink because they forgot their drink in the kitchen after they made their sandwich, come back, and they're still at the end of the first damn it. I ruined the joke. We're just going to take that take. So, they're at the end of the first Horn Leech, and that's just Trevenant. So, Morgana Bind, but moves you around. Like, it's if the Morgana Bind pushed you and then rooted you at the end, is what Trevenant feels like. Woodhammer, it's got wind up. It's got some scuff to it on sometimes they get hit from weird angles. Sometimes they don't get scooped up, even though they might have been in the reticle. So, Woodhammer's kind of weird. Also, you just kind of have to sit there and take damage and get kited out. So like, yeah, Trevenant can get kited out, but if it can't, then it's doing a lot of disgusting tank things. But I still consider Mamoswine just way better. Mamoswine's easier and gets about the same amount of reward, if not more, because it has more damage. Gardevoir, A+. Cracked Gardevoir mains out there, pretty good with it. But at the same time, it's easy to flub the Pokemon, and I think that's what keeps it from being S tier, where it's like, yeah, it's really, really good. It's like top of A+ tier. I don't know where exactly, but it's definitely up there as a really strong Pokemon. But as weak early laning, so you can still get a little punked on. I don't think it's worth it as a jungle slot when you got like Lucario, Cinderace, Garchomp, Tsareena, Zeraora, a lot of Talonflame, Gengar now. Yeah, we have to include new Pokemon in the vocabulary because a lot of changes have been going on. So I think like, yeah, you can't put like Gardevoir in the jungle is just a bad pick compared to all the other jungle Pokemon out there. Even like, nah, Charizard's lane now. Like Charizard's, I want to say A+. And I think the reason why we haven't seen Charizard be A+ yet, because like it's feeling A in my games. But there wasn't a lot of Charizard mains out there that knew how to play because the Pokemon's existence was suffering at pretty much all stages of the game, whether or not you win jungle or lane. But now, like, because you're slowed less and you have more slows baked in, your laning is strong. It's competent. Charizard or Charmander and Charmeleon can get on people and just start melting them and burning them. And then with like good support follow-up and duo synergy, it's a laner. It has like that Gibble feel to where it's like bad players just can't play Gibble in lane, but good Gibble players can take over the lane somehow. That's what we have with Charmander, and then Charizard's just stronger. And then everything's just stronger, and Charizard also got that crazy Unite move buff, which made it strong. It's like, Charizard is good. And we're gonna see, like, did it bounce from like B+-ish to A+, or is it around here somewhere? I don't know, but yeah, like, and then when you Unite moves, you can't do anything about it, so you just lose the game. Crustle. Is it one of those things like Crustle, no one's playing it anymore and still A+ tier, or it's actually A tier just in meta? Like, you go Shell Smash X's and then you wipe out an entire team. Because if you're playing, like, that's the thing, like, if you're playing Score Shield, if you're playing Goal Getter, if you're playing Stealth Rocks, you're playing a D tier Crustle. You're playing Crustle that should not exist and should never be played. And that's why Crustle feels bad, and there's not enough good Crustles out there ruining games like you can on Crustle with Shell Smash X's, or then Unite move at the right time, and then they don't get to play Pokemon Unite. So, the thing is, like, there's just so many Pokemon other people are playing poorly, and then no one's playing, like, good Pokemon well. And I think that's, like, the problem with the Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales, I considered S tier for a long time, because I've seen S tier Ninetales. And then when the world needed them most, they vanished. And I don't know if that's because Ninetales got solved, the meta warped around it, if every Ninetales main just decided to pick up Lucario and Tsareena and Zeraora instead, and Talonflame. Like, I don't know if they went to the Ooh Shinies and Ninetales is still at least A+, or like some just have Ninetales isn't good. Now, Ninetales does feel really scuffed. Like, Dazzling Gleam just doesn't work half the time. And even some of your abilities don't cast well. So, like, it needs some kind of smoothing on its casting, because it does feel very, like, alpha state. Like they just, from when it was launched and now they've improved their systems and Ninetales got forgotten. And maybe that's why it's underperforming, but also you can still play it well. And the X attack buffs definitely crack Ninetales now. You go Aurora Veil, Dazzling Gleam, which has always been the better moveset, and then you go X attack, and then you win the fight. So, Ninetales, maybe still really strong. Man, I want Cramorant to be good so bad. Maybe the meta goes in his favor, but you just can't do damage on him. You don't top damage charts. You don't even go like second most damage anymore. And you're a mage carry. But the devs hate mage carries, so what are you going to do when you're getting 6 figures on Cinderace, Tsareena, Garchomp, and an incredible Cramorant game is maybe 80k? Especially if like you hard win lane and you stuff them out, then you just kind of not exist. I don't know. Figure out tank Cramorant, guys. Play it from like a Mamoswine. But then like, why are you playing Cramorant over Mamoswine when Mamoswine's tankier and I think does more damage? Okay, it's just stupid stuff. Now we get into supports. Blissey. I think Blissey's the better support over Eldegoss, because you get that good Bliss assistance, you get that helping hand in there, especially with the X attack buffs. Like, I think you can build a really good comp. Like, X attack, Alolan Ninetales, Cinderace, Blissey, Mamo, I don't know. Mime? It's like, dude, just do something. You just kind of like have such DPS scaling, and then a lot of like really good burst power and tank out there. Not tank, just damage DPS carries out there. Something's happening. I don't know. Gonna put Squirtle at A tier. Like right now the game is being really solved in lane. So like if you're getting your secures, if you're stealing like one camp and going experience positive, and you're setting up for bees and then snowballing the rest of it, and you can like the one thing that a Squirtle has is it does capitalize on jungle ganks really well, but Mamoswine's just better. Like Swinub is one of the best laners in the entire game, and then it just becomes the best tank in the entire game, and then it just works. So like when you're behind Mamoswine, it's like, yeah, kind of hard to make like an argument. So Mamoswine's just so good, every other defender is A tier or Slowbro. That brings us to Wigglytuff and Sylveon. Sylveon A+, you hit level, like, you just spike so early. Like, there's a chance you just find yourself level 8 lane for Dreadnought. And then you Unite move, and then you win the fight, and then you win Dreadnought, and then you snowball the rest of your team to get their Unite moves to use at Rotom. Stuff like that happens. Also, level 4 Hyper Voice. Like, Eevee's weak, and you can definitely make an Eevee not evolve for 4 minutes if you're good at the game. But if like, all it has to do is get a camp. Like, if Eevee just gets 2 camps, it's Sylveon, and then stealing bees, and then securing everything, and a competent Eevee player will make that happen. So, yeah, you have to invade their side. You have to steal everything, or else Sylveon's just gonna win lane. There's nothing you can do about it. So it's a very strong Pokemon, and that's just absurd. So after that, we got Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff's underwhelming. Cute Charm is about all it has. Like, yeah, all Wigglytuff has is Cute Charm, because Cute Charm interactions don't make sense half the time. But it's still not that crazy. Like, pick Mr. Mime, bring a real support. Think that's kind of it. Don't play any of these Pokemon, because Absol doesn't exist in the late game. Greedent is a waste of time and can be ignored, and then you win. Same thing for Slowbro. It's a waste of time, can be ignored, and then you win. If you're an idiot that saw like a Reddit post about Potion Slowbro being unkillable, just uninstall right now. Go back to Minecraft. I think Fortnite's going to be cool because Twisted Towers is coming back. Zoom, zoom. But yeah, there we go, guys. Hope you all enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.